Most people won't say these things to you, but I'm here to tell it to you straight. I'm quite an opinionated girl. I'm also a learning girl. And today I want to invite you into a conversation about some things that may be hard to hear. This is your wake-up call. This is a wake-up call for all of us. Girls in our 20s, girls going through transition, girls going through hard times. I get you. I'm going to validate you, but I'm not going to enable you. If someone hasn't said it, who will? And I'll hold your hand when I say this, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and you are going to have to listen. Number one, you buy things because it gives you temporary satisfaction and a dopamine hit that you're not willing to cultivate on your own. So when you're sad, and I know because I do this, when you're sad, you reach for some convenient form of satisfaction rather than looking internally and trying to cultivate that deep sense of contentment. That looks like buying something to make you feel better, eating something really quick, something like really rash and not intentional because it kind of gives you that high, rather than sitting there with that big question mark and learning how to self-regulate. That can also look like going on TikTok, going on social media, looking for something that conveniently gives you a form of interest or just helps you feel something. Which brings me to my next point. You don't always need to minimize every discomfort in your life. For example, I really want a little bag hook that will go on the back of my car because I've seen my friends with it, and no shade. But I was kind of like, okay, I actually don't need this like small little device. Yes, I would like it. It would make my car cute. It would help me be more organized, but let's face it, the lack of organization isn't the fault of not having a bag hook. It's something within me because of my personality, because of some sort of discipline that I need to regulate. I see so many videos online about like storage, organization, like small little gadgets that can fit like the in-between discomforts. But at the end of the day, like, we don't need to find a solution for every small thing. Because you know what happens? The minute we're faced with a bigger, more uncomfortable situation in our lives, our threshold to manage that discomfort and deal with a little bit of rough and toughing it is lowered. Then when you have to deal with a conflict in your life, like amongst your friends, amongst your family, you're not really even practicing minimizing discomfort in smaller areas. So how are you going to do it in the bigger life scenarios? You probably need to initiate with more people. I think a big problem is people feeling like, none of my friends care about me, no one's asking me to hang out, like no one asks me how I'm doing. And if we all feel that way, if we literally all feel that way, what can we conclude from that? I know that I'm like a strong initiator, and sometimes it does suck feeling like maybe your closest friend or people in your life don't care about you, but inside we're literally all feeling the same thing. It feels nice to be initiated with. It feels nice for someone to want to hang out with you. It does take two to tango, but just send that text. Don't test your friend. Don't wait for them to ask you if you're free or use that as a form of a metric. Obviously, I think there are circumstances where it can really snowball. If you're waiting for some girl that you met at school or someone in a club to text you, just text them first. Like, plan out the text, maybe send it to a friend, but I think we could all grow a little bit more in becoming stronger in that department and kind of getting over ourselves a little bit and just taking the steps, because at the end of the day, the result is the same. You get to hang out with someone, you get to make like a fun memory. I think there's an important balance of, maintaining boundaries and things like that, but initiate maybe 10 or 30% more than you already do. I think it'll work in your favor. Kind of on that same note, ask for help. Ask for more help. I feel like it's maybe pride or embarrassment or shame that people do not ask for input as much as they probably should. The same way there's always someone better at you than something, this rhetoric applies. There's always someone that knows a little bit more than you, and it doesn't have to be your mom or your dad or like even a friend. Sometimes I think that dynamic can be difficult, but I'm practicing that in my job hunt. So reach out on LinkedIn, ask people in your community that have done the same thing before. Literally everything you're trying to do, someone else has already done and been successful in, or even if they failed in it, they're still gonna have some pretty good input. It teaches us to lean on our community more and not be afraid to admit that we don't know something. Next, you already have a handful of skills to build a better version of you. We all have imposter syndrome or have this habit of telling ourselves that we're not qualified enough. And what does it take to make someone qualified, especially if we know that there's already someone else out there that is 10% better than us. It's a never-ending cycle if we keep telling ourselves that narrative. You don't need to watch one more video. You don't need to doom scroll or get more inspiration. Like, you already know what you have to offer. You already have something that you're good at, even if it's only one thing, whether it's in the workplace, whether you're looking for jobs, whether it's in a friendship or a new community. I can guarantee there is something that you know that you can already bring to the table, and you don't have to wait for someone to tell you that you can do that. You have the skills, you have everything you need. You've already lived X amount of years. Trust me, you know a thing or two and you can apply it. It just takes that initial step. I always say getting from A to B is so much harder than getting from B to C to D to E to F. The minute you start, that ball starts rolling and you already have the skills. And if you don't, you're gonna learn along the way. That's a pretty common anecdote of life. You're not gonna know everything, especially when you start, and you will learn the skills that you need for whatever task you have at hand. No one cares about you that much. No one cares about you as much as you care about yourself. Obviously, it's your life, your mind, your body. So that can be viewed negatively or that can be viewed positively. There's so much insecurity nowadays. That's a part of life. It's a good teacher. It's a good way to push ourselves. But overall, we need to spend less time worrying about how we're perceived because it cripples us so much. If we all go around thinking about ourselves and what we look like and what people think about us, genuinely, how are we gonna get anything done if we're just busy thinking about ourselves, what we sound like, what we look like, what we say, what we do, how much money we have, how many experiences we've had? Think about all the people that you come in contact with on a daily basis. It's like hundreds of people. Are you sitting there at home like ruminating about like that one barista's like outfit? No. So no one's doing that about you. And even though maybe some people are because they just have nothing better to do, you have to live like nobody is focusing on you that much. It's so much more freeing. It allows you to make decisions that are best for yourself and actually impacting your journey. I know that it can feel super overwhelming now that we have social media and in one video you can get over 1,000 people to look at you, see you, perceive you, hear you for the first time. And it is daunting. Even if you go to a new job or you're in a new class, like you're met with having to meet new people literally every single day. And if we're crippled by worrying about how people perceive us in every single interaction, every single day, 24 hours a day, or 12 since you're sleeping, it's just setting you back so much. So much. So many people are riddled with insecurity, doubt, fear, a lack of vulnerability, worrying about the future, and that is so normal. That's what makes a human a human. But if we let those things have a grip on us so tightly, it robs us from the potential of the life that we are meant to live. And it might not feel like that, right? And insecurity, how does that affect the people around you? A fear that lives inside your brain, how does that impact other people? And I'm gonna tell it to you straight, it does. People can sense energy, people can sense discouragement. It comes out in the way that you talk. It comes out in your actions over the course of time. Even though it feels like you can manage it, buckle down, if you're not open about these things and you're not challenging yourself with figuring out what makes you so afraid, it's going to affect other people because it will limit your actions, it's going to limit your communication, and in the end, really end up hurting somebody. And that's all I'll say about that. You are not meant to consume as much content as you do. I'm trying to practice not going on my phone or social media on the weekends. I think we don't realize how much of a chore it is to actually absorb content online. It feels relaxing, it feels therapeutic, kind of feels like your brain is off, but in reality, it's not. It's analyzing, it's comparing, it's thinking, it's gaining ideas, it's gaining inspiration. Not all of that is bad, but it's way more than our brains are actually meant to absorb. Before social media, we only had access to the people around us, which is already a lot, especially if you're in a big community. And now expanding that community to the entire planet, it's literally sending us like into overdrive. And I need to definitely be more disciplined in that. I definitely have areas that I need to put more boundaries in, especially on my screen time. This one I've been saying for forever. Everyone is the same. And of course, I will validate you are unique, you are special. There are things that you bring to the table that other people would die to be able to do. But we are all humans living literally on the same planet. We are all the same. Even though we go through different experiences and we're all comprised of different components, we all feel happy. We feel pain. We have emotional days, right? Somebody's pain threshold of 20% might seem smaller to you, but it could be equal to your 100%. Someone's 20% can be their 100%. And for you, is just 20%. Not everyone's, lost a sibling, a parent, a job, a grandparent, but maybe other people have been rejected from schools that they've wanted to go to, struggled financially. Even though these are all different problems, it still induces the same thing in all of us, which is pain and discomfort. The next time you think that you're the only one going through something, maybe you're the only one going through that particular problem, but I can guarantee someone else can feel the same sense of emotion connected to it. Other people in your life have experienced heartbreak, heartache, stress, worry, struggle. Your experiences are not unique, even though it may feel like it. I've had different things happen to me sooner than I would like, but at the end of the day, I know that I can relate to the people in my life even if they haven't had the exact same experience. Pain is a universal feeling, and I think once you get more open about it and you realize that other people have experienced whirlwinds of different kinds of pain, you learn about more stories, more character building moments from people that are older and younger than you. I think it really adds perspective, and there's a lot to be learned from just opening your mouth and having a conversation with someone and letting those walls down. Stop living in autopilot. I know it's hard, especially when our world is kind of set up that way, 9 to 5, 7 days a week. But I think there's different ways that you can implement turning that autopilot off. I saw one video that was like this girl trying to break her social media habits. She would directly come home, sit on the couch, and sitting on the couch just conditioned her to automatically go on her phone and doom scroll. And the one step she made was that instead of going directly to sitting on the couch, when she came home, she would try to stand a little longer, she would go to the kitchen, she'd start making herself a snack, and that was a way to just break that little mini cycle that she kept keeping herself in the loop in. Obviously, there are responsibilities you have to do. Picking someone up, going to work, waking up at a certain time, I think those are important disciplines to have. But in areas where there's a little bit more leeway, I think it would be helpful to kind of figure out ways that you can break that cycle just a little bit. Because the worst thing is going through life as a zombie, looking back the past 5-10 years and realizing that you weren't actually present. You were just doing rhythms that felt comfortable to you. It's okay to outgrow certain things. I think it's really hard when we get stuck on habits and patterns, and then when we look back, we feel nostalgic about change and different things. I think that's perfectly normal. It is crazy how fast life moves. It is something that we want to hold on to, but do a check in your life about things that aren't serving you. Is it like the same pattern of thought? Is it a friend group? Is it, maybe the cadence of your routine, or maybe you just don't even like a certain area that you live in. I think these things are easier said than done, but it's good to think about it and do a little check within yourself, kind of like the autopilot thing. Am I enjoying this? Is this a part of who I am? I think it could even start with something as simple as your wardrobe. I had a bunch of clothes that I literally just needed to detach myself from. There's joy in suffering, and I am learning this firsthand these days. And I always say this, imagine if nothing happened in your life and it was all super easy, smooth sailing every single day. What kind of person would that make you? And I sympathize with really difficult situations. I think life is very, very hard. There are a lot of unfortunate circumstances that happen to us. That is the nature of being a human. Those moments that you really, really are in rock bottom or really, really squeeze into a corner makes you think so deeply. Because sometimes when we're in a layer of comfortability, we can tolerate it even if we don't like it that much. But when we go down to a deeper level of true suffering, it really, really makes us sprout, even if it's not in the next day or the next 3 months. It's similar to a phoenix in the ashes, right? It has to get burnt so badly to be able to evolve again or rebirth into a new life. So next time you're going through something really difficult, instead of just kind of like this sucks so much, I think take a moment to just think, really sit with it. What am I learning from this? Where do I have to go to be able to get out of this? Where are corners that maybe I'll bleed into that I wouldn't have gone without the situation? And what is the refining moment that I can really get out of this? And I think there's so many examples like this. If you think about a diamond, it takes pressure to be able to turn the coal into a diamond, and it sounds cheesy, but there are multiple examples in our life where we see pressure create something good. Anyway, I just wanted to make this video just because I feel passionate about certain things. I feel like I'm really learning a lot these days. If you want me to go into depth about any of these topics, feel free to leave a comment, feel free to let me know, and I will see you next week. Bye!